Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Hello, hello.
But most importantly, you guys are here, so thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show goes. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address, and as long as we deem it appropriate to address on the show, you can send in a question right now at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Send it on in and we'll get to it in the second part of the show. And here's the good news about this tip link. It's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be watching this video a little bit later in the day when we're not streaming live, or if you're one of the many people listening to the audio-only version on the podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can still use that tip link, and we'll just get around to answering your question on the next episode. All right. I'm going to go see Wild Robot.
Oh, nice.
Oh, when?
In 2.5 hours.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
going to go see The Substance.
Oh, the Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying it's her best performance like yet,
But harsh.
but I have been really excited about Wild Robot, so I can't wait to see that.
I'm seeing that next Wednesday.
And this morning, I got my tickets
For
to
Joker?
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
No, already got my Joker tickets.
Okay.
I'm seeing it on Monday.
Mm.
I think they're doing a special advanced fan screening on Monday. So I think I'm going to see Joker 2 on Monday. And then on Tuesday, going to Staples Center. Sorry, it's now called Crypto in LA here to go see the Hans Zimmer concert. Very stoked about that. I hope you guys have some fun stuff lined up. But with all that down and out of the way, let's get into our show here, shall we? We're going to start off with this. You know, the Disney Plus shows, particularly Marvel, but also Marvel and Star Wars both, let's call it what it is, have been very, to be generous, hit and miss, right?
Yep.
Like they have some great stuff, WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, Loki's really good, but then they have a lot of crap. And, you know, so with Agatha coming out, a lot of people wondered, well, is this going to be, it's a spinoff of one of the other shows and all that kind of stuff. Now, I love this character, and I love Catherine Hahn playing her, so I had some optimism. But I was still pretty pleasantly surprised by the first 2 episodes. It was like, it was surprisingly solid. It's quite good. But if you guys remember, I said, that's all well and good for a Disney Plus show to start pretty good.
Yeah.
Many of their crappiest shows started pretty good. Book of Boba Fett, first episode was pretty good. Obi-Wan, first episode was pretty good.
Excellent, actually.
She-Hulk, first episode was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know what happened to those. So how would Agatha kind of hold up? So that was the thought I had in mind. As I sat down on the sofa last night, popped on Agatha All Along, episode 3. And you know what? I am pleased to announce they're staying surprisingly pretty strong. This was a really good follow-up episode. Now, of course, episode 2 ended off with the Salem 7, those horrifying looking witches coming after Agatha and her crew. And now they're on the witch's road and they face the first trial. I won't go into all the details for those who haven't seen it yet, but I thought they did a really good job of the tension. They did a really good job of building the mystery. They go more into why the other witches also cannot hear the teen's name. So they go a little bit more into that. They face their first trials. They go through their first bit of tests. There's some surprises and all that kind of stuff. And I'll give one little spoiler away. Not a plot spoiler, but just out of nowhere, somebody mentions the name Mephisto. And that was in there. You get a little bit of background on Agatha herself.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm behind on 3. So.
Oh, you haven't seen 3 yet?
Yeah. I was busy with
I won't give
Shogun
you
and
any
other
of the
things.
context, so that won't mean anything
No,
to
I don't
you.
even care. That's fine.
But I mean, it was a solid episode. Look, is it this show as good as Penguin? No, it's not. Is it as good as WandaVision? No, it's not. But man, it's significantly better than a lot of the other Disney Plus stuff they put out. And I got to say, so far, that strong start, they're carrying through. And so far, episode 3 is pretty good. How many episodes did they ultimately say this series is?
This is 9.
9 episodes? Okay,
Yeah.
so we still got 6 episodes to go. But I will also say this. The ugly little head of one of the real pains in the ass for me about a lot of these Disney Plus shows really popped up. Now, episode 1 and 2, they felt like well fleshed out episodes. And they were both 40 plus minutes, right? But they felt fleshed out. You can have a show that's like 38 minutes and have it feel like a full episode. But Disney Plus shows have traditionally really been cheap on runtime. So you wait all week for an episode, and they sometimes, when you take out the opening credits and end credits, you've got like a 28-minute, 27-minute episode.
Those end credits are just like, am I watching Dune 2 or am I watching like Hulk?
Because the credits start rolling and you're like, you bring up the time bar and it's like, well, it says there's still 7 minutes left. Yeah. So there must be a post-credit scene. And then you fast forward. Nope. It was just 7 minutes of credits.
The crawl is real slow.
Yeah. Now, I will say this about episode 3. I didn't feel it in episode 1 and 2. In episode 1 and 2, they both felt like fully fleshed out. Even though they weren't the longest episodes, they felt like fully fleshed out episodes. While I think episode 3 is strong, and in a thumbs up and thumbs down world, episode 3 gets thumbs up for me. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode. But you were getting that same awful, this felt short. It's one thing to be short. It's another thing to feel short. And it felt short. Like I felt they just started to touch on some things, or they just scratched the surface on things. And I understand there's more episodes to come, but you have to make it worth the viewer's experience and worth the viewer's while to sit down, to plan for a week, to sit down and take in your episode. And even though I felt it was good, a lot better than I think any episode of Echo or any episode of Secret Invasion or whatever, I still felt you could feel that runtime issue creeping in because, again, it felt kind of short.
Now, that probably won't affect me because I have to do 3. Like, I'm catching up this weekend, just going to do 3. So, for me, and not that I'm even...
Oh, you haven't even started on episodes 1 and 2.
No, it's been a lot of Shogun.
But you know what? I bet you'll still
and...
feel it.
Really?
I think when you get to episode 3...
It's going to be like...
I think you'll still feel it a little bit. Again, I'm not saying that ruined the episode. It didn't. It was still a good episode. They continue to build more layers to the characters and to the mystery, and that's good. Again, I really wish... Look, Disney, listen. If you're going to make TV shows, make proper TV shows. Just make proper TV shows.
You want them to have more story that it feels like they can't fit all the story in rather than them having to fill the episode up with stuff.
Yeah, you feel, because sometimes when I watch one of these Disney Plus shows, and I know I complain about this a lot, but just indulge me. I feel like I sat down to a meal and every dish was too small. So the meal ends, but I'm not satisfied. And that's not just have to do with runtime, but runtime's a part of it. And I just hope we don't see the next week's episode is even shorter. And like, if you're going to do that, then just make a movie. But if you're going to do a weekly series, make them hour-long episodes. Or what's the point? What are you doing if you're not?
Last night, I think I saw it was 39 minutes when I saw...
Yeah, about 32 minutes once you take out the opening credits and previously.
And then
the last...
Runtime includes those.
It includes all of it. From the moment you press play to when the last end credit rolls.
Yep.
So really it was about 32 minutes or so. But anyway, again... Strong episode. The show's been quite good so far, not on the same level as Penguin or anything like that, but I'm enjoying it, and I didn't know if I would or not. Here's hoping it can keep it going. Guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to check out the new episode of Agatha all along? If so, are you enjoying it? Are you not enjoying it? I mean, I don't think this show's for everybody, but I'm digging it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the big pleasant surprises that we got, and we got many of them at CinemaCon back in April in Las Vegas, that's why we go every year, is they showed us the first preview back in April of the new John Wick World movie, The Ballerina. And, we've all heard some stories. They had the big delay. They've gone in for a whole bunch of reshoots. Lionsgate says it's because they wanted to add even more big action sequences. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out. But I do know this. Everybody liked that Ballerina preview. It was hardcore. It felt like you were in the world of John Wick. And to everybody's very pleasant relief, the Baba Yaga himself shows up in it. And as you guys remember, I told you this back around CinemaCon. I spoke to a rep at the studio who said, oh yeah, John Wick isn't just a cameo in this movie. There's going to be don't worry, it's not called The Ballerina and John Wick.
Sure.
But John Wick is in much more of the movie. It was akin to me of a little bit more than Iron Man in that first Spider-Man movie. A significant role. So we're going to see a good amount of John Wick and Keanu Reeves in it.
There's a lot of alumni in this trailer already.
Yes, they did. Like a lot of the alumni.
Right.
Lance Reddick.
This trailer is freaking.
Come on, whose heart didn't flutter a little bit when we saw Lance Reddick?
I saw
in
that
there.
and I was like, oh my gosh! But this is a good trailer.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I'm
Ian
ready for this.
McShane's in there.
I had a smile on my face. I'm now. It's up. The volume's up to 10 now for this.
I'm assuming
because this wasn't the same trailer.
Volume's up to 10.
This wasn't the same trailer they showed us at CinemaCon. I think CinemaCon was more of a buzz reel.
Well, it
like
was,
a buzz. This one actually
it was about 3 or 4 minutes that they showed us, and this isn't the exact same thing, but there's a lot that I'd say about 50% that we saw there is in this trailer. But you're right, about half of it was stuff even we hadn't seen before.
Because I didn't feel this way after I saw the cinema. That's how I know there was different stuff in this trailer.
Yeah, there was definitely different. And Ana de Armas is Ana de Armas. Like once we saw her in that James Bond movie, we all knew, this girl is built for action films. And what's even great about it is it didn't just feel like the world of John Wick. When you watched even her moves and the way she would do, I think there's like 17 kills in this trailer, but like her kills are very John Wick-esque, right? And I love that. Just the way they introduce it. We knew it was coming, but you just see the train pull into the station. And then you hear her voice going, "You're him." And then the feet coming down the steps, the Baba Yaga. And you're like, yeah.
I do wish they didn't do the time slow down sound effect, though. I hate that it shows that. Boom.
Yeah.
But even before that, the trailer was great.
Like, absolutely. It's fantastic.
And then they just said, you know what? We're going to hit him with something at the end. And then they gave us that.
Although, what I hope, because Winston, played by Ian McShane, is, I mean, a scoundrel, but he's noble. And I hope, because I got the feeling from the trailer that he just kidnapped some little girl from a train station and thrust her into a slave's life of being an assassin.
He's like, so you like dancing, do you?
Hopefully there's more to it than that.
Why is he becoming the worst person as each movie passes? Like,
but she was all bloodied up.
Super, like, you know, to himself.
I don't agree.
I actually think I hate him a lot more and more every movie.
Really? Only for that one scene where he he turned on John Wick or sold him out. But
exactly.
I've never thought but he redeemed himself.
But that was to save John.
That was a misdirect.
Which is why he got punished.
I still think he's dirty.
Well, I mean, he's a scoundrel, right? But I mean, I love him in these movies. I love the character. And I think this looks great. You know, somebody just mentioned in, I think Calvin is sending in the live chat saying very Black Widowish. This looks like the movie Black Widow should have been.
Well, come on. They wouldn't have done this.
Oh, man. And the ice skates. Oh, my biggest fear of why I've never get on a skating rink or any of that.
Well, they weren't on a skating rink.
I know, but I'm still saying those blades.
Skate, I know.
Those blades are sharp.
But I mean, yeah, this looks like the movie Black Widow should have been.
Yeah,
Black Widow.
Maybe.
Look, I didn't think Black Widow was bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was fine. It was fine. I kind of liked watching whatever, but it was no way special.
You're not going to see Black Widow stick a grenade in a guy's mouth and then close the door and let it explode.
But we should have.
But who else thought she's losing that last firefight in the trailer? Water. She has a thing of water, and he got fired.
That just holds him back.
I know. I'm just saying.
It out.
It's like an Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. The elements were fighting.
It's a cool look, but I was like, if he has a lot of gas in that thing, she's losing.
Yeah. Unless she's got a lot of water.
Okay.
Well,
let's get into the science.
I mean, we'll see. Let's bring on Bill Nye, the science guy.
What's it? Mythbusters.
But anyway, I thought the trailer was great. That doesn't mean the movie's going to be great. I'm not willing to put money on that the movie will be great yet. But I mean, the trailer was fantastic. I cannot wait to see Anna de Armas in this. Seeing guys like Ian McShane
It's
and
gonna be
Lance
great.
Reddick, and I'm looking forward to it a
Yeah.
lot. So, guys, question is for you: what did you think about this trailer? I thought it was I think it's a winner. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on to this here for a second. Pardon me. You know, the other day, Penguin launched and we talked about it, and the ratings came out, and it's like the biggest ratings thing for HBO, like since The Last of Us launched, and like 5.4 million viewers or something along those lines for the C-level villain of a spinoff from a movie from a couple of years ago. Right? This isn't like a brand new like main hero. This guy, Penguin wasn't even the main villain in the Batman movie. He wasn't even the second main villain. Riddler was the first level villain, Falcone was the second level villain, and Penguin was like the third. And you're doing a spin-off show of that, and it got like for HBO, big numbers for HBO. Now, I saw some conversations online then happen about, and I get it on its surface. Some conversations online started to pop up that I saw in certain circles, like lamenting and arguing, why are they calling Penguin a hit and calling the Acolyte a flop when the Acolyte had 11.1 million viewers? I think that was in one extra day. Like I think the 5.4 for Penguin was like in its first 4 days, and the 11.1 was for Acolyte's first 5 days, but whatever, still a lot more, right? And there are defenders of the Acolyte out there. And if you like the Acolyte, that's awesome. I'm glad that you did. I am actually legitimately jealous because I wish I liked it instead of hating it. But I'm glad you did. And I'm not saying you shouldn't like it, but there are those people saying, well, how come people are calling Penguin a hit and Acolyte a flop when the Acolyte had 11.1 million views? I think you have a point in the sense of it may be a little too early to call the Penguin a hit. We got to see what the numbers do as the episodes progress. Of course, the next episode, I believe, comes out on Sunday. You can double check that for me, Ray, but I think the next episode, Penguin,
it does.
comes out on Sunday. And then we'll come out on Sundays here on out.
Right.
So maybe it's a little too early for that. But I thought about this, and I started to discuss with somebody online, and I said, well, here's why people are calling the Acolyte a flop and not the Penguin. Now, I bring it up because when I'm going through my news reading this morning, I come across this article in Forbes where obviously the writer in Forbes, Paul Tassi over at Forbes, was seeing the same conversations. And he actually wrote, and I point this out because he actually brought up the same points I was bringing up in this other online conversation, saying the Acolyte versus the Penguin viewership comparisons don't really add up. So here's what I said, and here's what I believe you can say to a friend who likes the Acolyte and is wondering, well, hold on a second, what's with the double standard? Why are we calling the Penguin a hit and we're calling the Acolyte a flop when the Acolyte had basically almost double the views? Here's why. And again, maybe we're calling the Penguin a hit a little prematurely. Maybe we got to wait. But that aside, put that aside for a second. The Acolyte cost $180 million to make. And while we do not have the numbers, I don't think, I looked around, I couldn't find the production budget numbers for Penguin. From my understanding, it's below the $100 million mark. So that means you're talking about at least half the budget. Well, John, budget doesn't excuse whether people watched or not. Okay, fair enough. That's only point one. That's only point one. But I do want to remind you that in the world of streaming, it is an important part when a streamer is evaluating the success of their show. They want X number of viewers per $1 million spent. And if they spend an exorbitant amount, I still don't look. I went back and watched some scenes from The Acolyte again. I still don't see where they spent $180 million. I just don't see it. Even if the movie's bad, like there are bad movies that I go there are bad $150 million movies that I at least look at the screen and say, well, I can see where they spent the money. I can't see where they spent $180 million on The Acolyte, but that's aside. So when a streamer is evaluating the success ratio of a show they put out, how much it costs them to get the results they got is an important part of their calculation. So I'm just putting that out there, but that's only part one. The second point and reason that people called Acolyte a flop was because, yes, the Acolyte debuted to 11.1 million views, which was huge, fantastic. But then the ratings dropped to the bottom of the ocean like an anvil. In the very second week, just the second week, it fell out of the top 10 streaming ratings altogether and never popped back on until its finale. And even because you expect a big rush on the finale, but even the finale only hit number 10 on the streaming chart. Number 10 for its finale. And they did release the numbers that the Acolyte ended up being the lowest viewed Star Wars show they've ever done. So yes, they started incredibly strong. And we talked about that after week 1 of the Acolyte. It started really strong, at least viewership wise, but then everybody ditched. I didn't ditch until episode 5 or 4, one of the two. Then I ditched because I couldn't take it anymore.
I think I ditched after 3.
3? Well, you're a better man than me. But that was the other thing. That's another reason. That's point number 2. Point number 1, it's cost dollar to result ratio is way bad. That's one reason they called it a flop and why ultimately they canceled it. Number 2, the ratings dropped through the floor. And that's another reason. And then third, and obviously, while the Acolyte did have its fans and still does have its fans, and that's great. That's awesome. I celebrate that. The undisputable reality is, though, that when you look around, at least from my perception, more people were kind of like me and were very dissatisfied with the show. So when you combine basically negative feedback, horrible ratings, and a cost to result ratio that is just not acceptable, that is why they labeled that a flop. While HBO, on the other hand, and by the way, HBO is not as big as Disney Plus. HBO Max, they put out a spin-off series of a third-level villain that cost way less and got the highest ratings on a premiere they've had in well over a year since The Last of Us. So that's why they're looking at that and saying, that's a hit, even though it had less initial viewership than The Acolyte, which people point out and say that's a flop. Now, let's see what the Penguin does in week 2, 3, and 4. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to pull out my inner Nostradamus.
Don't do it, John. Don't do it.
I know it's dangerous. You're not supposed to tell people the future.
Once you open that box, we can't close it.
You can't shut it. I think the Penguin ratings are going to go up. I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't know that for sure, but a lot of people watched it. And at least from my perception where I'm sitting here, where a lot of film fans talk to me, it seems like the vast majority of people really liked it. And I think word of mouth has gotten out there and the awards buzz is already starting. I think as opposed to the Acolyte, whose viewership dropped through the floor, I think we're going to start seeing the Penguin viewership go up.
I mean, tell me the last HBO series that they put premiered every new episode on primetime on Sunday night that was bad. This has got.
See, I thought you were asking a dumb question until you said that was bad. I'm like, oh,
the only one I can think of
that they had like Sunday.
Actually, what was the
Sundays
one with,
like their
what was the one with Johnny Depp's daughter in it? Was that HBO?
Or was that Amazon?
That might have been.
It might have been Max. That
Okay.
was not the Superstar. It was called the Icon, the
Yeah.
Idol.
Oh,
Idol.
was that-
Idol. That's what it was
Idol.
called.
But
Yeah. Okay, that sucked.
but if that wasn't
That
if that
sucked.
wasn't HBO, then
no,
how to-
the people online saying, "Yep, that one was Max."
yeah.
Oh, so
and
that-
I would say How to Make It in America, which was trying to be an Entourage type of spinoff that took place in New York, and it just fell flat. One season.
But generally speaking, when you
But-
look at the HBO primetime stuff,
far and
like
away.
Succession and Last of Us and House of the Dragon and like they just win. Their batting average is always incredibly high. It's not, they don't bat 1,000.
No.
I'm using baseball terminology.
There
You
we
like that,
go.
Jonathan?
There we
They're not
go.
batting 1,000, but their batting average is higher than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think the viewership on this is going to go up. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Like, have you seen the discussions going on? I mean, listen, on the surface, I think it is a fair question. Why call the Penguin a hit when the Acolyte had more than double the views, at least in its premiere episode. Does the explanation I just gave like sound reasonable? Can you think of some other points to raise? Maybe I'm missing some points on the Acolyte side. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Listen, we still got to talk about a couple things, including Disney Plus is about to go full force into their password sharing crackdown, but they're also offering, like Netflix does, you can sign up some friends as a bonus account on your account. We'll discuss that, but also The Last of Us Season 2 just put up their first full trailer, and I'm telling, to me, it's an emotional gut punch. We're going to talk about those things and a couple things more, but before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Disney Plus announced a while ago that, like other streaming services such as Netflix, that they were going to begin cracking down on password sharing. Now, password sharing is... I know everybody thinks they're entitled to do it, but it is stealing. I mean, I know people don't like hearing that. Everybody wants to stick to the man. And you guys have heard me complain often and loudly about how quickly and how rapidly streaming services, particularly Disney Plus, raises their prices all the time. I complain about it all the time. But password sharing is still stealing. It just is. Saying it's now is like saying, no, I bought that CD. I should be allowed to make as many copies of it as I want and hand them out to my friends. No. It's still stealing. It's meant for, unless they tell you, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's meant for you and your household to watch. And they're cracking down on it now. Now, if you guys remember when Netflix did that, what did everybody say when Netflix announced they were going to be cracking down on the password sharing?
I'm not going to use my free stolen account
anymore.
That'll show you.
The end of Netflix. Netflix sold RIP Netflix. No one's going to use Netflix anymore.
It's like a jewelry store that saying we're going to put an alarm system in, and burglars are going, well, then I won't steal
I'm not
from
gonna come to your
yours
store anymore. But what happened? What happened once Netflix implemented that? What happened to their subscriber base? Went up a lot. Yeah, people still use the service and people signed up for the additional thing. So Disney's now coming out and saying, so they've updated their users and updated the terms, put out messages. This is what they said. This comes from Variety. Your Disney Plus subscription is meant to be used within your household, which is a collection of devices associated with your primary personal residence that are used by the individuals who reside there. The company explains in a message to customers. Anyone residing outside of the household of a Disney Plus customer will need to sign up and pay for their own subscription. Oh no! How crazy is that? Anyway, for their own subscription or be added as an extra member to your account for an additional monthly fee to continue enjoying Disney Plus. Okay, now that's that part. Be added as an extra member. Now, if you guys remember when Netflix did their crackdown, they gave people
Yeah.
the option that, hey, instead of your cousin Billy having to get his straight up own Netflix account, he can be added to your account for a fee that is less expensive than if he just went out and got his own, right? And they let them do that. That is what Disney Plus is doing as well. But is it worth it? Well, you decide. Here, take a look at this. So the regular ad-supported plan, like the plan with commercials, for Disney Plus is about to be, starting in a few days, is about to be $9.99. That's with commercials. The regular ad-free plan is $15.99, or about $16. Now, if you want to get an add-on, like you want to get your cousin Billy, or your cousin Billy wants to get added onto your account, okay, well, here's how much it's going to cost. If cousin Billy wants to get added on to an ad-supported plan with commercials, it'll cost him $6.99, so 33% cheaper than the regular one, and $3 cheaper. If cousin Billy wants, is just used to living the high life and wants the ad-free plan, no commercials for Billy, it'll cost him $9.99, or $6 cheaper than if he went and got his own ad-free plan. Is this a staggering savings? I would say no.
No.
But it is a savings.
But in the whole scheme of things, let's say with all the streaming service, let's say all of them, it does add up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, listen,
Absolutely.
after
Every dollar counts these
Yep.
days.
listen, it's $72 a year.
Yeah.
If you're saving $6, that's $72 a year that you're saving.
What's
that's
funny,
something.
What's funny about what you said is the basic plan. Like, can the main household have the basic plan? But let's say Billy is like, I want the ad free.
You know what? I wonder.
that's
I
a good
looked
point.
through the writings. I didn't see anything mentioned. My guess, and it's just a guess, my guess is if the household has the basic plan, like the ad supported
Then they're
plan,
capped.
then any add-ons is going to be ad supported as well.
Yeah.
That's my assumption of this. I don't think Billy, if you're on the commercial plan, I don't think Billy can get the ad-free plan.
And he's like,
Yeah.
I want to share, but I want to be above.
Yeah. I want to
have
be
the-
above everybody
Yeah.
else.
Now I'm the captain.
But here's the other thing. They added another limitation.
Of course.
You can only have one add-on plan.
Yeah. So
Oh, and no more than that.
No, so like let's say I've got Disney Plus ad-free, right? And Anne's sister, Olive,
Right.
wants to be added on. Okay, I can add her on. But then
Sorry,
Ray
Ray.
gives me a call and says, John,
I don't want to come over no more. And you,
I don't want to come over and watch it at your house. I want to watch it at my house. Can you add me on to that sweet savings plan? I got to go. I can't because I'm only allowed to do it one, and we've already done it for Olive.
and then you just hear the dial tone.
You're dead to me. Dead to me. I mean, I can't remember if Netflix has a limit on how many friends and family
They don't.
you can.
They don't.
No limit.
They don't.
Okay,
I
so
looked through it one day.
now I'm not saying it should be limitless, but one seems I mean, look, it's free money, right? They're letting people sign up for less than the normal price. Okay, so they don't owe it to anybody, granted. But I think if you're going to have this program and say you can add on Cousin Billy or former college roommate, sister's brother's cousin or whatever, that's good. I just think maybe you should have more than one as a limitation.
maybe like 4. Because it would
from
be
what-
like a
even 2.
yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember, I believe Netflix add-on was a little bit more expensive too.
Was it? I thought it was a little bit cheaper, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's like the add-on, the extra member. I believe it was like when I was looking, it was $12.99 if you had the basic, and then the add-on was $7.99. No, actually, you know what? No, but I remembered because I didn't want to add somebody because of the price.
Yeah, because you add somebody on, you get the bill.
Yeah,
I don't think Cousin Billy gets the bill.
Yeah,
I think
see.
you get the bill.
It's like
It's essentially like tariffs. You're the one who's going to pay.
Yeah, you're the one who's gonna have to pay for it. So there you go. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I'm a little torn because on the one side, yeah, I agree. There should not be password sharing outside of the house. That is essentially stealing. And I'm glad they're giving you an option to add somebody else outside the house. But it's not that big of a savings, and they're only limiting it to one. I don't know. Look, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I think they could do a little bit better here. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on and talk about this, shall we? The first real trailer, like a good solid over 2 minute long trailer for Last of Us Season 2 has dropped. Now look, Last of Us is the show that I don't know that the video game movies and video game TV shows curse is totally broken yet, but I think The Last of Us was the most significant sledgehammer to the glass. Right? Like maybe it's not totally gone. Maybe that curse isn't totally gone, but the biggest, heaviest, most severe blow ever dealt to it was Last of Us. I could not believe. I mean, we all thought the trailers looked good, and we know, like, The Last of Us is probably pure story-wise the greatest story in any video game ever. So we knew it had potential. The trailers looked pretty good, so we knew it had potential. They did a dynamite job with their casting, so we knew it had potential. But I don't think there are many people who were ready for just how good that bloody show is. We weren't ready for it. Like right from the first episode, like for even people who were already familiar with the story of the game, but especially the people who weren't familiar with the story of the game, they start off the show telling it from the perspective of his daughter. And then they give you that first emotional punch in the balls when she dies. Oh, and that was only giving you a taste of the things to come. And then comes episode 3. That's how good it was. All you have to say to a lot of people today is, don't even mention the show. Just say episode 3. Everybody knows you're talking about The Last of Us. One of the greatest single episodes in television I've seen in a long time. Not ever. I mean, it's not Battlestar Galactica Second Exodus good, but it is one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time, in years. And it just kept going. It's emotionally satisfying. It's thrilling. It's horrifying. It's a show that grabbed you by the bitten tinies and never let go. And it was just magnificent. How on earth are they going to follow it up? Now, the story of Last of Us 2 is equally as brilliant, in my opinion, because I love stories that look at what does pain do to people, even good people. What does pain and anger do to even the best of people? And that all of the story of Last of Us 2 is really an examination of that. What does pain and loss and anger do to even really good people? I adored the story of it so much. So we kind of know a little bit of what we're in for going to 2, but the trailer drops. Oh my God, it's brilliant. It's so good. That trailer.
I just jumped out of his seat.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, like I'm literally, like you guys can't see it, but I'm literally salivating. And that the whole stuff making the backbone of the trailer, the conversation going on between Pedro Pascal and Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
And like having the whole trailer kind of revolving around that central conversation. What did you do? And like, I got chills watching it. Chills. And like seeing the relationship being even more advanced now, years later, between her and Joel, and then her playing the guitar for the one who would become her love and all that kind of stuff. All that is seeing Joel's brother, and that shot of the horde running towards the town, and the guy like lowering the binoculars and like understanding the shit they're in. I'm telling you what, guys, as far as just a pure trailer for a TV show goes. Now, granted, I'm already halfway there because I love the show already. So I acknowledge that completely. Maybe if I didn't already love The Last of Us, I wouldn't be as overwhelmed with this trailer as I am. But that's part of the experience. I do love this show. And this trailer to me served up on a big frickin' juicy platter a lot of promise. And it's all just promise because it is just a trailer. Like, right, season 2 could fall off a cliff, who knows? But this little trailer is brilliant. Remember, we always say, what do we say the job of a trailer is? To take your expectation level and your excitement level and bump it up. I was already excited for this, and I sit here, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in film and television fandom, more excited right now for Last of Us Season 2 than I was before. The only thing that sucks about the trailer,
the last part where it says 2025.
Exactly. That was the worst part of the trailer. That part sucked.
You know
I
what?
hated that part.
You know what I loved about the trailer was the amount of laughs and smiles I seen on everyone's faces in it.
Oh yeah, so much joy.
I mean, this trailer is very stressful to me.
Why?
Like I'm almost like, I know with this show there could be a point where I breaking bad it. Meaning, if people haven't heard the story, like I stopped watching Breaking Bad at the end of season 5, right when Hank's on the toilet, they buy their new cars. Hank's on the toilet. He figures out Walter.
Yeah, just before that, everything was great, and then
like
it just
that episode was so happy. I never gone back. That's
It's
the way.
like, you know,
that's the way the
all the
season
happiness
ended.
is done. I'm out.
That's the way the season ended, or the series ended. This one, man, as good as the show is, there's just some sadness I can sense from this trailer. Because anyone who's played the game or anyone who I never played the game, but I know things. There's going to be an inevitable, and like I can't get that out of my head from every time I watch it. Every time I watch these new episodes from the second season, it's going to always be in my head. I'm just going to be sad watching it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good show.
Well, now let's also remember, the first season took liberties with the story from the game, and every change that amzn made actually made the story better than it was from the game. We already know they're going to take some liberties with the story from Last of Us 2 in the TV series. They're going to make some decisions that were different from the show. So it's going to be interesting to see how different it is, what type of impact it has on the characters we're going to be watching. But at either way, this show's great. The trailer's great. Cannot wait to watch it. Guys, question is for you. What did you think about this trailer for The Last of Us Season 2? I thought it was bloody brilliant. It got all the feels. I cannot wait for this thing. Whatever the release date's going to be, all it said is 2025. It can't get here soon enough for me. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all that down, let's now move on to the important stuff, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show. Folks, I've been using this app for years, and I've been telling my friends about it forever before they were ever a sponsor of ours. The good folks over at Acorns. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Acorns. Guys, everybody knows we should be investing our money. That's why it's an important priority to me. But there are several obstacles to getting started. First of all, a lot of people think you need a lot of money to start investing, or that it's complicated, or you need to do a lot of research. Well, our sponsor, Acorns, makes it simple. You see, Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing in your future. You don't need a lot of money or expertise to invest with Acorns. In fact, you can get started with just your spare change. Acorns recommends an expert-built portfolio that fits you and your money goals, then automatically invests your money for you. My own experience has been great. See, I actually started using Acorn years ago as kind of a first foot in the door to get started in investing. I set up the automatic deposits, and before you knew it, every couple of weeks I'd check in on it and watching my money grow. It was fantastic. So guys, head to acorns.com/Campea or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Client testimonial. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Acorns for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to the important stuff. Your topics and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
First up, we got Send Me Your Blade scripts. Not a big fan of Transformers IP, but had a great time seeing T1. Hope the movie has legs if the T franchise can keep rolling out high quality like this. Could you see Hemsworth being the long-term voice cast for Optimus like Cullen was for 40 years?
No,
Not for
not
40
like
years,
Cullen was
no.
for 40 years, but can I see him being the voice of Optimus for 6 or 7 projects? Sure. Provided that this movie has some legs at the box office because it did not have a promising start at the box. Now, granted, the good thing is it wasn't a super expensive movie to make. It cost like $75 million to make. So, I mean, there are different reports. I've seen 70, I've seen 75. So it's in there somewhere, right? So not a outrageously expensive project to make. So it doesn't have to make all that much, but it still had a really slow start, and which really sucks because the movie's so good. But listen, if it can find some legs like Elemental did, because Elemental had a really slow start, went on to make almost $500 million. So, but if it can have just recoup a little bit, yeah, I can see Hemsworth, because I was like most other people when they first announced Hemsworth 2 years ago at CinemaCon. Said Chris Hemsworth is the new voice of Optimus Prime. Listen, I love Chris, but I was like, really? Hemsworth is Optimus Prime? I mean, I know it can't be Peter Cullen anymore, but really? Chris Hemsworth? Really? Good day, mate. And that's horrible. Horrible Australian act. But I didn't see it. Totally worked in the movie, though. And so, yeah, I could see him playing it for a long time, but not 40 years. All right, what's next?
Does he have it in him to be epic?
To be epic.
Semi-Scripts is back. Says also, John, I signed up for a work contract in Vermont. I'll be 2 hours away from Montreal.
Oh, nice.
Thought I'd ask the good Canadian kid himself if you've been to Montreal and what I should see or do there when I eventually visit.
I love Montreal. Me and some friends, every once in a while, at least a couple times, we hopped in the cars, made the 5-hour drive from where we were into Montreal. Love Montreal. I hope it's still there. I mean, it's been
Montreal. It's still there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Is Montreal still there? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still there.
No, what I don't know is still there is this amazing restaurant called the International Cafe. Because it's been like a good 17 years since
What
I've been to
cuisine is it?
Montreal.
I mean, it says international, but I mean,
It's very much is an international
okay,
thing.
okay.
So like I remember as an Italian, my God, they just had a simple spaghetti and meatball plate, man. That was almost as good as Nonna's. I mean, it was really, really good. Anyway, visit the old quarter, the cobblestone streets, but it's also a rich city of culture and like just beautiful stuff in there. But yeah, if you get a chance to run up and just take in some stuff in Montreal, absolutely go. All right, what's next?
Edgar is here and says, been watching since I was 12.
Oh, thank you, man.
I'm 25 now. Thanks for all the great memories. I loved Alien Romulus. It's closing in on 350 million worldwide and on an $80 million budget. What does this mean for Alien going forward? And what does this mean for Fede Alvarez?
It is amazing for because listen, you guys, you cannot underestimate the negative power of the fact that everybody thought this franchise was dead. And they had a long uphill climb. For them on an $80 million budget to make $350 million, actually make money, and people liked it. It speaks very well. There will be more Alien films now. I don't know if they're going to make a direct sequel to Alien Romulus, like if we're going to pick up with the girl later on, 80 years later, however long her trip is supposed to be. But we are going to see more Alien films now, because when you can put out a movie in an atmosphere where everybody thinks Alien sucks now, and have that kind of response, that kind of quality, and get that kind of box office result, yeah, they're looking good. They're looking good. All right, what's next?
Dad Joke says, John, have you ever seen the J&D Studios figures? If you and Rob like Hot Toys, these are next level. They're thousands, but the figures look incredible. Check out the Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman, Indiana Jones, and Dr. Jones figures, jaw-dropping. Those things are creepy.
Yeah.
It looks like it's
I've
flash-
never even heard of it.
You can like peel back the thing and you can see like the eyeball in there and everything. It like you can lift up and see the teeth. It's creepy, man.
I've never even heard of J&D. So I'm assuming they're more than 1/6 size.
I believe they're the ones that have the real hair on, like the Heath Ledger.
Dude, it is like
You've seen it.
off-putting a little bit.
All right, what's next?
Gregor says, what's been your favorite MCU movie since Endgame? Probably Shang-Chi, right?
Well, what have we had? There's Guardians 3,
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
That's probably my favorite is Guardians 3.
Guardians 3 is mine too.
Um,
As far as after that.
Yeah, Shang-Chi. I mean, like, Spider-Man No Way Home was great. Guardians 3 was great. I like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I was a little disappointed with it. Like, I thought it could have been better. But I still liked it in general. But yeah, for me, Shang-Chi was the best movie they put out since Endgame, I think. All right, what's next?
We got, let me scroll up. Dr. Stinky needs sunlight. They said it. I literally jumped off my couch and almost hit my head on the roof as a grown man, Mephisto.
Yep. I knew, it's like, oh my God, did they actually just finally say Mephisto? Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They said Mephisto. And again, the only reason they said Mephisto was because in the first one, that's what everybody's theories all revolved around, was Mephisto. So you knew that's why they put it in there. But you never know. Mephisto may come into play in this thing. Just might.
Just real quick, here's like an image of the Harley Quinn.
Well, here's another one on my screen here.
Yeah, that one too.
So they're 1/3 scale.
They're 1/3 scale, so they're much larger.
So they're twice as big as the 1/6 scale.
Man, look at the Arwen, Lord of the
Oh
Rings.
my God, the retail price on this Harley Quinn, $3,500.
Well, come on. It looks like a miniature version of her.
It's crazy.
I mean, it looks great.
No, I'm telling you, like the eyeballs and everything, they're glass or whatever they're made of, but everything looks real. It's so off-putting to me.
It looks, but at 1/3, those are monstrous.
Yeah,
but,
they're huge.
But still, $3,500.
But
That seems a little unreasonable.
if I win the lottery, J&D, I'm coming. I'm coming for your whole store.
All right, what's next?
We got Daniel who says, "Hi John, this is my first time posting a question. Decided to give Rings of Power Season 2 a chance because you said it was good. Season 1 was meh. Last night's episode with the big battle was perhaps the greatest hour of television this year.
Haven't
I
watched
still
it
have to
yet.
see it.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
wow.
because it's a midnight release. I don't stay up till
I
midnight.
didn't even know it was midnight. They started doing the midnight thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, well, no, I'm excited to see Wild Robot, but like as soon as the show is over, I got to get myself ready and I'm going to run over to the theater and go see Wild Robot. But then when I get home from that, before Thursday Night Football starts, I will be watching the new episode. Again, it's funny how all things in balance, as much as I was disappointed in Rings of Power Season 1, is the polar opposite of how enjoyable I find this new season. Like, honestly, I know I brought this up the other day, and we might have mentioned some shows. I cannot think off the top of my head any show ever that has had the turnaround from season 1 to season 2 like this show has. Like it seriously went from a show that I had a very difficult time getting through in season 1 to now I can't wait to watch the new episodes when they come out.
I think for the
one season.
I know. It's the same for me. I think for the most part, the sticklers are the people who are like, this is nothing like what the Silmarillion, the timeline is or whatever. But it's like, that's not, they're adapting this. It's not from the Silmarillion. They only have rights to certain things. So, and you couldn't, dude, by the time in the Silmarillion, by the time those forces attack where they're making the rings, it's 200 years. So it's like, you can't do that in a show.
I like, again, when the season is over, I think we need to do a really good long editorial of just sitting down and dissecting what are all the things they did? What are all the adjustments they made that made season 2 so much better than season 1 was?
That would be great.
I mean, because like, remember, literally, I was not looking forward to watching the new season. I'm like, I'll watch it because it's Lord of the Rings, but I am not, I didn't even know what the release date was. I wasn't paying any attention to it. I didn't care. And then I watched the first episode. I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. And then the second episode, you know what? That was good. Then the third episode, I'm like, is this show actually like really solid? Is this like a really good show? And then episode 4, I'm like, yeah, this show's really good. And now I'm not going to say I like it as much as I like Penguin so far.
Yeah.
Because I'm really loving Penguin, but I am so enjoying watching season 2, which is such a difference from my experience watching season 1.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
Good Canadian Kid Morgan says, part 1 follow-up to yesterday's Cineplex comment, 2.2 billion NATO upgrade. Though there are other chains, Cineplex has 90% monopoly, 90% plus in Canada, which appears to stunt progress. We have no HDR, Dolby Vision, or LED options. Though IMAX shows 4K options, even Cineplex Premium Format Ultra AVX is only now upgrading to 4K. That blows my mind that it's only 1080. Wow. I've thought many times of traveling to the States for bigger films such as Avatar 2 and hope the upgrade can complete with my 4K OLED.
It's not 1080. It's more like a 2K
okay.
sort of resolution.
So it's like a midway point.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, one of the big problems with Canadian movie going is the fact that you've got basically one option: Cineplex. That's it. Now, I've been told there are other smaller chains there now. Like, I think Landmark. I don't think it's the same Landmark that's in the United States, but I've heard Landmark's got a little bit of a presence, and one or two others.
Right.
But really, basically, if you live in Canada, anywhere in Canada, if you want to go to the movies, you got to go to a Cineplex. And lack of any competition means greed and laziness can slip in because they don't have to worry about anybody else. They don't have to compete with anybody.
They got a very large moat.
Like when I was a kid, there were two main theater chains. There was, I believe it was called Cineplex Odeon, and then there was Famous Players Theaters. And there were two of them. Those are the two primary. But then I then at some point when I was a teenager, I think they merged and became the one thing, and they are now the dominant thing, and they suck. Cineplex sucks. As somebody who spent more hours of my life in Cineplex theaters and used to love them passionately, it breaks my heart more and more every time I go home and have to go to a Cineplex theater to see a movie in to see how far they've fallen. They are awful, terrible, disgusting. They do terrible things. They completely take advantage of their customer base. They're just awful. And I hope for good things for them. Like I hope they turn it around. I hope they get a new CEO, or the CEO that's in place has a come to Jesus, Paul on the road to Damascus kind of moment. And read your Bibles, kids. And Paul on the road to Damascus.
You want them to see the light.
And yeah, I want them to see the light. And then and turn things around. So, you know what? Let's become more pro-consumer. Let's do things for our audience. Let's do things better than we've done them. Because honestly, while they have some real nice facilities, they do. I'll give Cineplex that. Absolutely. They've got some really good facilities. But they are a terrible, terrible, terrible company, in my opinion. And I need either another theater chain in Canada to pop up and put them out of business, or at least put them in their place. Or for them to completely change directions. But yeah, Dr. Stinky is saying it. Cineplex is a trigger word for me. It really is. I get most upset about things I love.
Sure.
Because I loved Cineplex. It was my dream for years. When I was working at AMC, I had one eye on making AMC the best place I could make it, but another eye on, I want to move back to Canada. I want to get hired by Cineplex, and I want to do for Cineplex what I'm doing for AMC theaters. That's what I wanted to do until I started to see them get consumed by darkness. You were the chosen one, Anakin. Oh, it was awful. Awful. All right, what's next?
We got Joe, who says, it looks like Hellboy the Crooked Man is going to be released digitally in the USA without its theatrical run. Sad, I was looking forward to seeing it in a theater. I thought because of its lower budget, it might do better financially.
I never for 1 second thought it was going to play in theaters. I mean, there's low budget and then there's low budget. Now, low budget doesn't mean it's not going to be quality. Remember, the creator of Hellboy himself, Mike Mignola, co-wrote the script on this. And he says that this Hellboy movie is the most accurate Hellboy movie that there's ever going to be. He said it's far more true to the comic and the spirit of the comic than even the Del Toro movies was, which Mike Mignola was involved in the Del Toro movies, and we all know how much most of us like the Del Toro movies. But he says that this Hellboy movie is the most true Hellboy movie. Now, I am also biased. See the difference between me and a lot of other people. When I do have a rooting interest and a bias in something, I say it up front. I have a bias on this because there's a friend of mine is directing it. So a friend of mine who is one of the reasons is responsible for me meeting my wife. That's a pretty big bias. So I'm hoping for this to be really good, but I never once for a second thought it was going to play in theaters, right? This is clearly made on a very, very modest budget. I mean, maybe they had dreams of it going theatrical, but it clearly is not a theatrical movie, but I'm hoping that doesn't mean it's not going to be great. So I hope it's going to be really good because Brian has got a great sensibility about him as a director, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right, what's next?
Matan says his name is still Oswald on the show, so what Matt Reeves said about Oz Cobb and being serious was an unforced error. It only brought back the talk of comic accuracy and being embarrassed of source material and only getting grounded Batman. That he's still very grounded. He's not ungrounded.
Sorry, I kind of missed the.
I think
What's
he's
the
just
gist
saying.
of the
I think he's
message?
just kind of taking a leap by saying, "Well, yeah, his name is Oz Cobb, like it was like not Oswald Cobblepot, but okay, his name is Oswald. Oz is short for Oswald, but it's still Cobb, so it's not like it's like you know what I mean. They're not running from anything.
I would say if you watch The Penguin and your biggest takeaway was they said his name was Cobb instead of Cobblepot, everything sucks now, then you've got problems. If that's your takeaway from it, like in the Batman, did they say the Riddler's name? I honestly can't remember. I don't remember. I honestly, this isn't a rhetorical question.
No, because
was Paul Dano's character named Edward Nygma?
No, because what they did was
it wasn't, because that's fine for a comic book. That's ridiculous in a grounded, serious feeling movie.
They actually showed that he had a lot of different names. Like he had other aliases. They showed a bunch of like fake IDs.
Right.
Yeah.
And listen, like, look, Cobblepot's a perfectly fine last name. So if they call him Cobblepot, great. If they just call him Cobb, great. The quality of the show is in no way going to be impacted whether they call him Oswald Cobblepot or whether they call him Cobb. It makes no difference to the quality of the show. And if I would say this, if anybody's complaining about that,
they're looking for something.
Then it means they're looking for things to complain about. Because I mean, all other things being equal, call them the same names. That's fine. But if they don't, it doesn't change anything. So I would say anybody who is like audibly complaining about that, they're tipping their hand that they are specifically and purposefully just looking for things to complain about. But anyway. All right. What's next?
Devoured by Bunny says, was just assaulted last night.
No.
Yeah, terrible. Left me crying, and now the idea of violence in movies hits me, differently. I wish this wasn't the case. At least the show can distract me for a bit. Stop saying you're nobody, you're somebody to us. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry that you had that experience. That's horrible.
Yeah, and I can imagine how that trauma would affect you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's terrible. Now, look, when I say I am a nobody, I mean, look, I have a perfectly good, normal self-worth. I mean, I know I am somebody. Of course I do. What I mean, when I say I'm nobody, I mean in the space. I mean, in this space, I am a nobody. Right? I'm some nobody kid from Canada who is in his garage, his converted garage, doing videos on the YouTubes, and we are an extremely tiny channel. I always have been, and we're an extremely tiny channel compared to like real big size channels. Like if you want to look at guys like New Rock Stars and things like that. And granted, I know there have been things I could do over the years to have bigger viewership, but I don't like to do those things, so I don't. I'm perfectly happy with the size of our channel and the size of our community. But yeah, make no mistake, I'm a nobody. Like you go walking up to, I'm not going to go there. I'll just say that, of course, as an individual human being, I am a somebody completely. In the space, I'm no one. I'm no one. I'm just some guy in my garage doing YouTube videos with a bunch of fun people out who are also online who want to come in and talk about movies and listen to us talk about movies. But yeah, that's the extent of it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I was at a UPS store the other day and the guy was like, "Are you Jonathan from the John Campea Show?" And I went, "I'm somebody."
Although I got to say, it was cool. It was cool.
When Jonathan spit on him after?
Yeah.
He actually showed me a picture.
Don't talk to me, nobody. No, we were at what I thought was great was when we went to Halloween Horror Nights the other night, because we don't often go out and hang out with your other sister,
Right.
Olive, right? So Anne and Ray have another sister, Olive, who's the oldest, and the four of us went to Halloween Horror Nights, and I don't think Olive has ever been out with us when a fan has recognized you. And I thought that was real. I just remember the first time that happened when we're standing there and somebody came running over because they knew who you were. And for Olive to see Ray being a celebrity, I thought that was really cool. Because I remember when Anne first saw somebody run up to you because they recognized you.
Crying.
She thought that was the coolest
She's like,
thing.
"I'm crying." But no. Yeah,
But I thought it was really cool when then Olive got to see that happen.
yeah, but she still thinks I'm a piece of shit. So
That's. She's like, I don't know why they like you.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I wish my mom was as supportive as the Penguins.
pussy boy.
What you doing? Pussy, are you a pussy boy? Like, damn it, I'm
I
getting.
love how that's become
PTSD.
normal now. Pussy boy. I'm not afraid to tell anyone on the street.
We got
pussy boy.
Hey, pussy, are you a
we
pussy
got
boy?
Twilight Boy, and now we got Pussy Boy.
Hey, bag my groceries, pussy boy.
And like, I just think there were so many guys who had traumatic flashbacks to their childhoods when Cobb's mom is like, "Are you a pussy boy?"
Oh,
It's like,
pussy
my-
boy is not even of vulgar compared to what my dad used to call me in Filipino.
In Filipino.
That's nothing.
Oh my god, I hope Penguin's mom is in a lot of this show because I could watch her
And please,
for a lot of hours.
Brian
please-
clearly says International Cafe closed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucked. I really like that
and
place.
please, someone get the Penguin font or Batman font and
Yeah.
put on a shirt. Pussy
boy.
Pussy boy.
With
And
the
be proud
bat
of it.
signal over the
Be
city
proud
in
of
the
it.
background.
That should be the symbol for all mama's boys right there. Pussy boy.
You a pussy boy? All right, we said that way too much here.
Yeah.
All right,
All
what's
right.
next?
Yeah, we're demonetized. Also, John, if you had to place bets on who from the Thunderbolts roster doesn't survive, who are you picking? I don't know that any of them will, but that's an interesting.
All right,
question.
high on the list again. Having seen a trailer, high on the list.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
No.
No, it's not gonna be.
Taskmaster. I think that's high. I think Taskmaster has to be looked at as the most expendable. After that, even though I really like Ghost, I think Ghost is probably the next up.
She was sick in Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So-
she was gonna die, so
Yeah.
clearly they came up with something to save her life. But I really like the character, I do. But I think I think Taskmaster is the first one up on the chopping block. Next one up would be Ghost, and then if you wanted to do one that would hit people in the feels a little bit more, I hate saying this,
Don't you dare!
Red Guardian.
Oh yeah.
That
that's
would
fine.
because
I said that's fine.
that's fine. Screw up. He's one of my favorite guys in the MCU right
He's
now. I
great.
love
He's
Red Guardian.
great. Don't get me
I
wrong.
could watch listen. I don't care a lot about the Disney Plus Marvel shows, but if they announced a Red Guardian Disney Plus show, I would watch the hell out of that series. But if you wanted, because I think killing off Taskmaster isn't going to bring out a lot of tears in the theater. I don't even think killing off Ghost is going to bring out a lot of tears in the theater. Red Guardian, I think, especially with that opening to the trailer with him with Yelena, and I think if he died in the movie, not only would that be significant, I think that could have the potential of bringing out some tears in the theater.
I thought you were gonna say John Walker. I was like, don't you dare!
No, I think they got plans for John Walker.
Good.
Because he's becoming a bigger star right now, especially because of Monarch. He's becoming a bigger star. And
He's
so
also a super soldier. It'd be really hard to kill him. I mean, Sentry could, but I'm just saying.
yeah, I mean, well, I think there's a lot of people in the MCU that could, but I mean, they're not going to kill Yelena. No way.
No
No.
way.
They're not going to kill Bucky.
I'll
No.
never watch you again.
They're not. I don't think they're definitely not going to kill Sentry. And I really don't think they're going to kill US. Let's call him what he is, Walmart Captain America. Even though I love the character,
You need to
love him,
You need to get that nickname out of your mouth.
but it's true. He's Walmart Captain America. I like him very
He
much.
might be the Captain America right now. Depending
at
on
the
Captain
moment.
America 4 if that goes downhill.
All right, what's next?
The Donut Van says, "Hey, John and crew, been watching since I was 13 back in the old AMC days.
Wow.
My girlfriend and I went to see Transformers 1 Tuesday at 7 p.m. and was so bummed to see only one other family of 4 in the theater with us. I truly hope this amazing film gets a sequel."
I again, listen, it's just one of those. Look, we all know life is not fair. It just sucks. Now you bring that into the movie world, and it's just not fair. When we want movies to be kind of feel fresh and be entertaining and be joyous and just make a good movie. And they did. And no good deed goes unpunished. Because this movie deserves, I'm not saying it should be $1 billion film or anything, but Transformers 1 deserves to be a hit film. It deserves it. And because of what Michael Bay and his ilk have done to this property and to its reputation, and some decisions. I love Paramount. I love Paramount, but some decisions they've made with the property, like instead of following up Bumblebee with a Bumblebee 2, they decided to go back to the Michael Bay formula and did Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I mean, that was a, and I didn't hate that movie, but it was a dumbfoundedly dumb decision on their part.
Which was another prequel, right? Rise of the Beast? Wasn't that considered
I don't
a
think,
prequel?
no, it wasn't a prequel.
No?
I don't remember. I don't think it was, no. I don't think it was, because they were modern cars.
Bumblebee was sort of a prequel.
That was because he was the old VW.
It was a requel.
Which is confusing,
Which was
too.
kind of a prequel, but also kind of a reboot.
And
Didn't
when
it
you put
take
them all
place
together,
in, like-
it's just confusing for the general audience. What are we following here? You know what I mean?
Didn't it take place in the 80s or 90s?
Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, but it was also kind of a reboot because it didn't fit in the continuity anyway, so it was, it's what's become known as a requel.
Yeah.
Part reboot, part sequel, whatever. All right, what's next?
Bluey Eye Samurai says, "Hey John, I've just found out today that Studio Canal has announced both a fourth Paddington movie and a TV spin-off series for sometime in 27 and 28. So far.
Oh man.
Don't get me. I'm excited, but whatever happened to making a beloved movie series a trilogy? Am I wrong? I don't know.
I mean, we've got Paddington 3 coming.
Does that mean they're confident in it?
I think that means they're very confident in it.
Let's go then. That's good news.
I don't think there's any rule that says you have to have a trilogy. You can go beyond that.
No, like almost Matrix went beyond it. Star Wars went
Rocky,
beyond it.
I mean, a lot of stuff.
Batman will go beyond it.
Batman beyond it.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Oh, I was gonna throw it in there, buddy.
You make your trilogy, and then if you have reason and grounds to do so, you can then make more. I mean, but like, look, the movie business. Here's what I understand. If you've got characters that people like and enjoy, and a world you've created that people like going and visiting, why should you not try making another one? I go back to Toy Story. Like, I remember when they said they were making Toy Story 2. I mean, there was more excitement for Toy Story 2. But when they announced Toy Story 3, the cacophony of, they're going to ruin it. 2 was perfect. They don't need, we don't need a third one. 2 was perfect. And what happened? They made the third one. It is the best of the bunch. It got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. They went back to it because these characters were beloved. They thought they had a good idea for a story, and they told the story. And then you think people would have learned their lessons, but no. When they announced Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3 was perfect, and it was. But they're just getting rid. And what they do, they put out Toy Story 4. Was it as good as Toy Story 3? No, but it was still really good. And so, yeah, all these movies, like there are tons of trilogies out there that also have a fourth and fifth film. The Paddington movies are inexplicably fantastic. I got no explanation for why those 2 movies. Like, Nicolas Cage in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is absolutely right when he calls Paddington 2 like the greatest sequel of all time. I think that's what he calls it in that movie. But I mean, they are inexplicably brilliant films. And I cannot wait for part 3. And if you think that you've got a great movie on your hand and you think the audience wants more, go ahead and make a part 4. Absolutely do it. All right, what's next?
We got Forbidden, who says, "Didn't know Daphne Keane was 5'3" in real life. Coincidence? She's Wolvie in real life."
Okay.
Is that how tall
Wolverine
she's
is?
supposed to be in the comics? No idea. But yeah, she's a short. Definitely she's a. Actually, I'll tell you what.
5'3" is pretty tall for like.
I am surprised she's 5'3", because when I look at her on screen, she looks wee. I mean, she looks little. I'm actually surprised she's 5'3".
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Sam Fisher, who says, "Have you heard anything about this Lee movie starring Kate Winslet and Andy Samberg? I don't know why, but I really want this to be an Oscar caliber performance for Samberg and for him to win supporting actor, unless the movie isn't very good." I've seen the poster for it, but I don't know anything about it.
I think somebody texted me I got to double check. Somebody texted me this morning with a new trailer that just dropped, but it was too late. I was already well into the process of, where are we at here? Oh, no. That's okay. Sorry. It wasn't Lee. It was Teacup, that they sent me a trailer for. I'm not familiar with this one.
Yeah,
With
I've
Lee. I'll
only
have
seen
to
the
go-
poster, so
so they haven't put out a trailer yet?
Okay.
it might be. But I just noticed it when I was looking for movies to get on the AMC Theaters app.
Right.
And then Lee is on there as coming soon. So I'm just like, what is that?
Okay. I'll have to definitely check because I love both of them. I mean, listen, I still think it's a crime that we do not get a Lonely Island movie every year. I think we should get a Lonely Island movie every single year. His movie, Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, is like low-key genius hilarious. That movie is just grand, and all their music is great. Yeah, they should do more of that. I don't know why he doesn't go back and do more of those. All right, what's next?
We got Justin, the CEO of cinema, is here.
Wow.
Saw Hans Zimmer in Minneapolis, and it genuinely changed my life. Got amazing seats, and you can feel his passion hearing my favorite movie ever score, Dune 2, along with Inception, and everything else was so emotionally overwhelming. Have so much fun.
I can't wait. Got my tickets. Here's the one thing. I'm going to be disappointed. Like, this doesn't have to happen. Okay, it does not have to happen. I'll say I'm going to be a little bit disappointed if they, A, don't do the Wonder Woman theme, and B, don't have Tina Gao there to come out and perform it. Because, like, when I'm watching all videos from the concert seats he's done in previous years, when first of all, Tina Gao is a dynamic performer. When she comes out on stage with her electric cello and starts, like, it's just, there's so much energy in the place. So they don't have to do the Wonder Woman theme. And if they do, they don't have to have Tina Gao there. But it would be really nice if they did.
It kind of sounds like they have to.
No, the thing they have to do, they got to play a Superman theme.
Man of Steel.
I am literally, I don't care how good the rest of the concert is. I will walk out of that arena disappointed if they don't do his Superman theme. I'll just get up and walk out.
No, I don't think they're going to play it.
When it's ended, and if they have not played that Superman theme, I will walk out disappointed. So I really hope they do that.
By the way, Ray, shout out to your... I didn't realize you had the Toy Federation shirt.
Oh, yeah. If anyone knows, they know.
Yep.
All right,
Nice.
what's next?
Bat J says, hey, John and crew, I recognize any doubts and I say it won't happen, but I was debating with a friend about if Secret Wars could be the Young Avengers storyline for some are hoping for. Some are hoping for that.
No one's hoping for that.
Thoughts on Young Avengers led by Peter during Avengers Secret Wars?
No.
Maybe as like a tiny group or something on a side mission. But
No, I still don't understand anybody's rationale. Because this has been going on since Endgame, saying, oh, Peter will be the next leader of the Avengers. Peter is a child.
Well, he's college age now.
No, he's college age, but he's a kid.
Yeah, he's not his 30s, 40s, whatever.
Like, if you watch, like, Spider-Man, like, even if you go to the second movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, right? Where he's like, ooh, he got this new toy, and he's using the technology that Tony left him to, like screw other kids in his class and stuff like that. And in No Way Home, he makes like some horrible decisions, and he's still an immature kid. Like, no one's going to follow him. So no, Spider-Man will not be the leader of anything. Spider-Man's an amazing character, one of the best they have in the MCU. Absolutely. Even when Tony and Steve were still there, but he's not going to be the leader of anything, at least not in the next 5 years or so. And no, they're not going to do Young Avengers. I'm not saying you couldn't have some characters who are associated with Young Avengers in the movie. Sure. But it is not going to be a low-key Young Avengers movie. They're not going to do that. All right. What's next?
Tron says, the trailer for Ballerina looks surprisingly good. I hope this is good for Lionsgate's sake. How many more flops in a row can they take?
The answer is not many.
Yeah. But this franchise has always been good for them.
It's one thing to flop. The flops they've been having are like worse than flop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are like, why'd you make them?
They're like corporation crippling kind of flops that they've been having lately. And I listen, I've always been a big fan of Lionsgate. You know, they're kind of the spunky kind of little brothers of the big major studios. I've always kind of liked them. I've loved a lot of the movies they've put out.
Yeah, the little niche films. That
But-
they have, John Wick,
And they've had some big franchises
Right.
too, like whether you're looking at like
Hunger Games.
Twilight, which now is kind of under them. I mean, so I hope this is really good, but I love the trailer. I do. I don't know if the movie's going to be good, but the trailer looks great.
So do you think their past releases, they released just so we can bring our expectation down for Ballerina? If this was all a setup,
What are you talking about?
they released bad movies. To
Oh,
prepare us.
no, I'm pretty sure that was not their strategy.
Boy, that would be a daring strategy.
All right, what's next?
Mike Lowry says, the Penguin is cool. You guys remember that Gotham show? Remember that Penguin and the Jerome Jeremiah Joker? I love that show. I'll laugh if Fish Mooney shows up in the Penguin. Just kidding. And also, sup, Ray?
What's up?
Okay, so that Gotham series on Fox was a tale of two shows. When the show was about Jim Gordon trying to keep his city together, it was great. When it was what the show was promised to be, it was great. When it tried to be a Batman light show, it fell on its face, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I liked the young Bruce character. I did. But the more and more they focused on, like, ooh, everybody, look at this for shade. He becomes Batman. Like, yeah, we know. It just, so when it was about Jim, it was really quite good. When it was about, look, everybody, this kid becomes Batman, it fell on its face for me. So it was a very hit and miss for me. Sometimes I loved it, and sometimes I just hated it. All right, what's next?
We got Kim Chicken Smelly Feet. Oh, no.
Damn.
Well, they're here. I would love to see a retelling of The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank set in the Star Wars universe get made by Lucasfilm as an epic movie. It's like some kind of take on that.
I love your
Like,
vision. I have no desire for that.
Yeah, running from the Empire. I don't know.
No. I'll just say I'll take the side of no on that. That'll be me. But who knows? It could be creative. All right, what's next?
Grow Up Christine says, hey, John, do you think... Well, that's their name. Do you think Destin Cretton was taken off Avengers 5 due to Downey's conditions of only returning if Russo brothers directed? Or do you think he would have left regardless due to the change in direction? Could this have been a factor?
I think, first of all, Destin leaving Avengers 5 or Avengers 4, 5 was a long time ago. Now, I believe they made the decision that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back and the Russos were doing it long before they made the official announcement at Comic-Con. But I think Destin leaving that movie was prior to that. I think. And so, yeah, I think as soon as they figured out we're not going to go in that direction anymore, I got excited that it meant he could refocus on Shang-Chi. Not so much. Now it looks like they pulled him, like they changed directions for Avengers 5, but they were also like, we need somebody to direct Spider-Man 4. And John Watts isn't here anymore. He's moved on from the Spider-Man thing. So we need somebody to come in and be the new shepherd of Spider-Man. And they looked at him and said, you're our guy. So I think that had more to do with it because of the way the timing of it was. So yeah, that would be my guess. Again, just a guess. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess. All right, what's next?
All right, we got some time for members here. Henry Lemoyne says, hey, John, what do you predict the box office will be for Joker 2 and Gladiator 2? I predict both films will make around 700 to 800 million.
I think that's optimistic.
Yeah,
For
that's
Gladiator,
right.
especially.
I don't think completely unrealistically optimistic, but optimistic nonetheless.
I'm going 5 with Gladiator. I don't know about Joker 2, though.
Listen, any guess we make before seeing the movie and seeing the quality of it is very tough because if the movie's brilliant, it'll make more. If it's really bad, it'll make less.
Right.
So my completely baseless prediction for Joker, and again, I don't put any stock in this, and I insist not to be held to this. I'll give a different prediction when I see it, but is probably about 500 million, which is still make it profitable, I think. And as far as Gladiator, I'm going to say 500 million.
Yeah, I got 6 for Joker.
You got 6 for Joker?
Joker 2 and then 5 for Gladiator.
Yeah, that'll be my guess for now. All right, what's next?
Joe Hallen says, was wondering if you've seen the Salem's Lot trailer. It looks awesome. What are your thoughts? Thanks, Bring on the Filthy.
Yeah, I mean, they showed us lots of previews for that 2 years ago.
I don't remember
2 years ago.
it looking like what this trailer is. That's what I wanted to talk to you
No,
about.
it's a very different
because
stuff
ours was
than they
creepy.
showed us before. But it felt really creepy before. This was a very good trailer. Somebody's gonna have to tell the story someday about why it took so long to get it in theaters. Like when the movie was done years ago. So it's gonna be interesting to hear that story. But yeah, the trailer looks really good.
And it's on Max. What does that say? Max kind of picky about the stuff that they put, right?
Well,
Or is it just
Not
because
like
one of
it's-
those
I mean,
things
it
that
was
they
already
owned
no,
it?
it was already the studio's movie.
Oh, okay.
They
so,
just
okay.
decided instead
Well,
of putting it in theaters, they're gonna put it straight
Yeah.
to streaming.
well,
All right, what's next?
Amin says, just realized next year's Emmys is going to be stacked. House of the Dragon Season 2, Penguin, Last of Us Season 2. I don't know that Last of Us Season 2 will be...
No,
in
Last of Us Season 2 won't qualify
Yeah.
for the next. I don't think so.
Rings of Power, Andor Season 2, and hopefully Stranger Things Season 5. And possibly even Daredevil. Some of those will not have made
Severance
the time frame.
Yeah,
but still,
Severance
comes out this coming year, right?
Yeah, I think
2025?
it's coming out
They said the
soonish.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, we're heading into what could be a really, really good TV year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But I mean, damn, man, some of the, I love House of the Dragon so much. I can't believe how much I love that show, and I'm really looking forward to Severance coming back too.
I wish we had another kaiju show, even if it wasn't
Well, we are
Godzilla involved. Even it just
We are getting Monarch Season 2, so that is.
yeah.
They made the announcement that we are going to get Monarch
Heck
Season 2, but
yeah.
I don't think we're going to get it in 2025.
Aw.
All right, what's next?
Mighty Tank says, happy Disney puts the premium shows out at 6 Pacific Standard Time. I was so over the midnight release. Sorry, from UK.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand the midnight thing.
see, here's the big problem with the midnight thing. Now, look, you can look at it as putting it out early. Like if it wasn't going to come out till 9 p.m. the following
Right.
thing, but you're putting it out early. The big problem with putting it out at midnight from a fandom's point of view is that nobody's going to have seen it at the same time.
Yep.
Right? So there are going to be some people that stayed up till 3 a.m. or midnight to watch it, but the next day, people have woken up in the mornings, they haven't seen it, and they got a bunch of friends who have seen it, and now they got to go to work and then have dinner, and they're not going to be able to see it until literally 16 hours or more after it drops.
Mm-hmm.
By putting it out at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it doesn't mean everybody, but it means the vast majority of people who are watching the show will have watched it at the same time. And by the time tomorrow comes around, most of the people who are watching Agatha have seen the new episode. Whereas when it drops at midnight, most of the people who watch Agatha haven't seen it yet. So there's many reasons why it's good that they moved it to 6 p.m. All right, what's next?
Nolan's Movie Talk says, hey, John and crew, I just got tickets to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse live in concert in Seattle on October
nice.
17th. So excited. I'm taking my friend for his birthday. Can't wait.
I love these movies in concert experiences. I always think I've never had a bad time at one. I always have a great time whenever we see them come up, and I try to get tickets to them, especially when they're at the Hollywood Bowl. By the way, when they start playing at different cities around the world next year, when you guys get a chance to go to the Marvel Infinity Saga concert experience,
I regret not going to that.
go. We went 2 nights in a row.
I
We loved
I
it so
was
much. We went 2 nights in a row.
I meant to get tickets to one of the nights. And
It was so good. So good. And it reminded you how great the Infinity Saga was as well. But yeah, it was just absolutely fantastic. And they announced at it that they're going to have it on a world tour starting next year. When it comes to anywhere near you, make plans, go see it. All right, what's next?
Kayak, haven't heard from you in a while. I rewatched the Batman before the Penguin premiere. It's my second favorite Batman movie. I really like the depiction of Gotham that Matt Reeves created. Looking forward to see more stories in this world, and I'm glad that first episode promises a great show.
I also believe it is my second favorite Batman movie. Obviously, The Dark Knight is my favorite Batman movie, But I agree. I think The Batman is the second best. John, better than Batman Begins? Yeah, I think it's better than Batman Begins. And I really like Batman Begins, but I think it's the second best Batman movie.
While I love the story of Nolan's, The Dark Knight probably better than even Reeves' The Batman, I liked Reeves' Gotham much better.
Gotham was brilliant.
Than Nolan's, because Nolan's just looked like Chicago. Well, he said in an interview, it's Chicago with better lighting. I mean, with the Batman, it felt like the Arkham series Gotham. So I love that.
Yeah.
CJ Rebirth says, I cannot wait to see Last of Us Season 2 next year, especially looking forward to see Caitlin Dever's portrayal of Abby, since the last thing I watched her in was Booksmart.
Oh, she's been in more stuff, but like, yeah, she was a revelation in book. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Booksmart, directed by Jason Sudeikis' ex,
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde's first directorial movie. That movie's great. Booksmart is great. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, if you want to see Abby from The Last of Us, go see it. She's been in other things too, but you got a quick shot of her in the movie. I cannot wait to see. I love the Abby character in all of her brokenness and in all of her everything. I love the character, so I cannot wait to see that. All right, what's next?
Dominic says, today's my birthday.
Hey,
Happy birthday!
And the countdown to my 30s has officially begun. Any movies you've seen that helps you cope with your own sense of mortality and getting older? Well, your 30s is not. You don't have to worry about that.
No, I mean, I've always, the only time I like getting older, there more and more advantages come along with it. But the only time I ever lamented a birthday was my 20th. I don't know, for some reason that really hit me because I wasn't a teenager anymore. There was something weird about that for me. When I was making the switch from 19 to 20, that one was weird. I've never felt weird after that, but I mean, the 20th, that was a tough one for me, honestly. It really was. All right, last question of the day. What's
I was
next?
going to suggest the last Clerks was the last one that I remember.
Oh yeah, Clerks is a really good one for that. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a good one. All right, what's next?
Rob Bucks has finally watched Inside Out 2. Always cry at these things. Half of me is screaming at the screen, just let Riley feel how she wants to feel. But then the other half has to remind myself that's exactly what's happening. Definitely going to watch again soon.
I was so shocked. Again, the Inside Out 2 is a great representation about one of the things I've always said about Pixar films. Pixar does not make kid movies. They make kid-friendly movies, and there's a massive difference between them. Because so much of almost every Pixar movie is clearly completely targeted at adults, right? There's a lot of stuff in Inside Out 2 that kids will have no idea what it's talking about and will not be able to relate with or even remotely understand, but adults watching it do. The kind of poster child for this thing that Pixar does is The Incredibles. No kid watching The Incredibles is going to understand what Mr. Incredible's going through. Thinking about his younger years in life and how his life has changed, and now that he's a family man, and does he have regrets, and thinking about the glory. Like, none of these are things that kids are going to understand. That stuff completely targeted at the adults. Pixar does not make kid films. They make kid-friendly films, and there is a massive difference. And Inside Out 2 is a great example of that. And that's part of the reason why it was so good. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because it was great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. So for the guys in the room, Ray Ora,
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico,
See you later.
my name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.